but that can be risky. So be prepared to adapt to nature, not the other way around. Not having a good reserve of money for expenses. It's always more than you think. If you're dreaming of owning a mountain property in Colorado, I want you to know that living here can be magical, but buying a mountain home does have unique challenges. Today I'm breaking down the biggest mistakes people make when buying mountain real estate in Colorado. Whether it's hidden costs, unexpected climate challenges, or legal issues, I've seen it all, and I can help you navigate these challenges of moving to the mountains while not being overwhelmed by the process of buying. This will be your comprehensive guide, and I promise that after watching this, you will definitely learn something, and hopefully you'll feel more confident to tackle moving to the mountains. So let's get started. And this is going to be a long one, so you might want to grab your coffee. I've got mine, and let's get to it. Before we dive into these critical details, please take a moment to subscribe to my channel where I share everything you need to know about Colorado real estate. It's such a big help to me growing this community if you like this video and subscribe to my channel. If by the end of this video I've missed anything or you have questions, please feel free to drop me a comment. You can also call or text me. I'd love to connect with you. Buying a mountain home in Colorado is the dream for many people, but it does come with unique expenses that go far beyond the initial purchase price. Many first-time mountain property owners underestimate these costs, which can add up pretty quickly. And 90% of the time, it's going to be more than you think. So having a solid financial buffer is going to be crucial to avoid unexpected financial strain. Let's break down some of the major expenses that you'll need to consider. First up is septic and well systems. So unlike city homes that connect to municipal water and sewer lines, many mountain homes rely on private septic and well systems. These systems require regular inspection and maintenance to stay in good working order. So with septic systems, you'll need to budget to have it pumped regularly, which is usually every couple of years depending on your usage and the size of your household. Neglecting this can lead to costly repairs or even full replacement, which can cost upwards of tens of thousands of dollars if the system fails. Therefore, it's very essential to have a professional inspect the septic system before you purchase, and then set aside funds for ongoing maintenance. So wells are going to also need regular maintenance. You may need to test water quality periodically, especially in areas where mineral content can impact taste and safety. Water testing usually costs between $20 and $150 per test. Wells also have mechanical components like pumps that can wear out over time, leading to unexpected repair bills that can cost thousands of dollars. Number 2, solar repairs for off-grid homes. So if you're considering an off-grid mountain home, there's also the cost of solar system repairs. Off-grid living can be amazing, but it means you're responsible for generating and storing all of your power. Solar panels and battery systems have a lifespan and will eventually need repair or replacement. The batteries that store your power typically last around anywhere from 5 to 15 years, and replacing them can cost anywhere from $2,000 to $10,000 depending on the size of your system. Solar inverters, which convert solar energy into usable electricity, usually need to be replaced every 10 years, and that can add a few $1,000s more. So if you're off the grid, be sure to factor in these costs as part of your financial planning. And make sure you go check out my video on off-grid living. I did an entire video on a home in Central City that was built to be completely off the grid, and I also included a home tour with it, so make sure you check that out. Okay, number 3, tree work and fire mitigation. Living in the mountains in Colorado means preparing for wildfire risk. Fire mitigation is going to be essential to keeping your property safe, especially in heavily wooded areas. Fire mitigation involves clearing brush, trimming trees, and sometimes removing trees that pose a hazard. So this isn't going to be just a one-time cost, and it's something that you need to budget for annually. Professional tree trimming and clearing can cost several hundred to several $1,000s depending on the extent of the work that's required. So even if you plan to do some of it yourself, you'll need to invest in the equipment that's going to be required and possibly even permits that are required by local regulations. Some counties offer cost-sharing programs to help homeowners with fire mitigation, so it's definitely worth checking in with the local agencies for financial assistance. But even with that, you'll want a reserve fund for regular upkeep. And please reach out if you want more information on the area you're interested in. Number 4, land equipment. So finally, let's talk about land equipment. Mountain properties often require more hands-on maintenance than city lots, and having the right tools is essential. So in the winter, you're going to need a small tractor if you have a long driveway, especially since snowplows don't always reach private roads promptly. So these machines aren't cheap, and a small tractor can cost upwards of $10,000. So make sure you're prepared for that. In the warmer months, you'll likely need equipment like chainsaws for managing trees and brush, and maybe even a small utility vehicle for transporting firewood or doing heavy lifting around the property. It's also smart to budget for ongoing maintenance and fuel for this equipment, which adds up over time. So as you can see, buying a mountain property in Colorado isn't just about the mortgage or the purchase price. These additional expenses can add up, and having a financial buffer will give you peace of mind as you settle into mountain life. If it sounds like I'm trying to discourage you from buying your dream mountain home, I'm not trying to discourage you. I just want to make sure you have those extra funds available that can make a huge difference, not if, but when these unexpected repair bills come in. If you're ready to explore mountain living, or you just have questions about what to budget for, please feel free to reach out. I'm here to help. Mistake number 2, not considering commute and isolation. So when choosing a mountain home, you need to consider the proximity to work and all the essential places that you need to visit. Living in the mountains can be incredibly peaceful, but it often means being farther away from conveniences. A long commute to work, the grocery store, or even receiving your Amazon or FedEx packages can quickly become a challenge and can impact your daily life. So one of the first things you'll want to consider is your proximity to work and essentials. If you work down in Denver, Golden, or Boulder, are you okay with commuting 1 or possibly more hours every day? Or if you spend every weekend in the city, are you okay with driving back late at night or during a snowstorm? And what if you travel a lot? So being farther away from DIA can be impractical depending on how often you travel. In the mountains, basic services and necessities like grocery stores, restaurants, and gas stations can be much farther away than you might be used to in a city or a suburb. So for example, the closest grocery store might be a 30-minute drive or even an hour away, depending on where you live. This can make trips to pick up milk or dinner ingredients a bit more of an ordeal. And if there's a sudden snowstorm or road closure, accessing these essentials can become even more challenging. So as a mountain resident, you'll want to plan your shopping trips carefully. Stock up on supplies, especially in the winter, to avoid frequent long drives. And it's not just grocery stores. Access to gas stations, pharmacies, even hospitals or doctor's offices may require a substantial drive. So if you're someone who relies on frequent trips into town, you'll need to consider how this commute fits with your lifestyle. So I had a client recently who decided to go under contract on a mountain home, and he had expressed concerns before over other properties we had looked at and their proximity to his work. And this one ended up being a little further from work. So I was surprised by the decision to make an offer on this home. And we talked about that and he was sure. But sure enough, we were about a week out from closing and he decided that it was going to be too much of a commute to get into Denver for work on the daily and decided to cancel the contract. Luckily, the sellers were very gracious and we were able to get his earnest money deposit back. But that can be risky. So make sure you are really thinking about things like commute and distance to places that you visit on the regular before you decide to make an offer on a home. Okay, another factor that surprises many new mountain homeowners is delivery challenges. Living in a remote location can mean limited access to certain delivery services. Companies like Amazon and FedEx are incredibly convenient, but in some mountain areas, delivery isn't possible or reliable. A lot of mountain homes are located on private roads that delivery trucks either can't access or won't due to difficult driving conditions. So in some cases, you may need to arrange for a PO box or have packages delivered to a nearby town where you can pick them up. So it's important to check with your preferred delivery services about their coverage in your area before you make the move. And remember that in harsh winter months, even the Postal Service can experience delays in reaching remote mountain properties. Number 3, no HOA or neighbors nearby. So lastly, there's the question of HOAs and neighbors. While some people love the idea of living with no HOA and having full freedom over their property, it also comes with its own set of challenges. So in the city and suburbs, HOAs often cover shared maintenance like road upkeep, snow removal, and even fire safety measures. When you live on a mountain property with no HOA, all of this responsibility falls directly on you. This can mean anything from arranging your own snow plowing to maintaining the private road that leads to your home, which can be a major task, especially during Colorado's snowy winters. Plus, without an HOA, you may find that neighbors are much farther apart or even non-existent. While this can provide a sense of freedom and privacy, it also means you won't have nearby neighbors to lend a hand when you need help, especially in emergencies. So if your power goes out or you need assistance during a snowstorm, you might be on your own. So while mountain living offers peace and privacy, it's essential to consider how you'll handle the isolation and distance from everyday conveniences. Make sure you're prepared for the longer commutes and the potential limitations on delivery services. And if you're buying a property with no HOA, be ready to manage those maintenance responsibilities yourself. Mountain life is very rewarding, but it requires a different approach to planning and day-to-day living. Time for a coffee break. Chapter 3, Not Understanding Snow and Sun Exposure. Number 1, winter sunlight. Many people dream of cozying up in a mountain cabin surrounded by snow, but there's something they often don't realize until after they've moved. Some mountain homes receive little to no direct sunlight during winter, which can make for a lot more inconveniences. So this is a big consideration when buying a mountain property. You want to check the orientation of your home to the sun. Colorado is known for its sunny days, even in the winter, but the way your home is oriented on the land can significantly affect how much of that sunlight actually reaches your living space. Mountain homes that face north or are situated on the shady side of a slope may get very little direct sunlight in winter. In some cases, homes are tucked into valleys or behind large ridges where sunlight barely hits them from November to February. This can make a home feel cold and dark even on bright winter days. So for many people, including myself, limited sunlight can impact both comfort and mood. If you're used to waking up to sunlight streaming into your bedroom, a home with minimal winter sun exposure might feel dreary. The lack of light can also increase heating costs, as homes with little sunlight require more energy to stay warm during the day. A south-facing home, which typically gets the most sunlight, is ideal for maximizing warmth in the colder months. Homes with southern exposure benefit from the low winter sun, helping them stay naturally warmer during the day. This can make a big difference in your comfort and energy bills. Chapter 4, mistake number 4, not considering wildlife. So let's talk about fencing for pets and gardens. If you're thinking about relocating here, it's crucial to prepare for how to live alongside the local wildlife safely. Here are some things to consider. One of the biggest challenges homeowners face is keeping wildlife away from pets and gardens. So for example, sturdy fencing can help protect gardens from deer and other animals who are looking for a snack, and ensure that pets don't encounter potentially dangerous wildlife. But some countries and neighborhoods in Colorado won't allow you to put up a fence, so it's a good idea to know what you need and if fencing is something that's super important to you and your mountain lifestyle. Okay, let's talk about bear security, pet and child safety. Bears are attracted to the scent of food, so keeping garbage secure is essential. Make sure your trash cans are bear resistant and avoid leaving pet food or any other potential attractants outside. And if bears are a common sight in your area, you'll definitely want to consider investing in bear-proof containers. For families with pets or young children, practicing caution around local wildlife is key. Teach children to respect wildlife and avoid approaching animals. Always keep a close eye on pets, especially in areas where coyotes or other predators may be nearby. So in Colorado, residents can hunt certain types of game on private property, provided they follow state hunting regulations. The Colorado Parks and Wildlife Department issues various hunting licenses and outlines specific rules, including the requirement that hunters stay within designated game management units, or GMUs. Private property hunting may require additional permits if it falls within a regulated hunting zone. And in some cases, hunting on your land may still be restricted to certain seasons and species. So check with your local authorities or Colorado Parks and Wildlife for detailed information about the regulations in your county and GMU. These considerations help ensure that homeowners can coexist with wildlife safely while respecting local ecosystems and regulations. So I'll include some helpful links below for you to check out. Mistake number 5, knowing how altitude affects you. Let's talk about the health impacts of altitude. Moving to the Colorado mountains means living at elevations well above sea level, which can affect much more than just your ability to breathe comfortably. The high altitude here can also have impacts on your health, your household appliances, and even the way your home needs to be heated. So let's go through what you need to consider before settling into mountain life. Altitude can impact individuals in different ways, especially at elevations over 8,000 feet, where mountain towns like Breckenridge, Vail, and Estes Park are located. Higher altitudes means thinner air, which can lead to altitude sickness. This is a condition that includes symptoms like headaches, nausea, fatigue, and in more extreme cases, dizziness and shortness of breath. For people with pre-existing respiratory or heart conditions, these effects can be even more pronounced as the body works harder to circulate oxygen. Many locals suggest acclimating gradually if you're coming from lower elevations. It can also be helpful to spend time at mid-level altitudes a few days before you make it to higher altitudes just to see how your body's going to react. Heating systems and energy consumption. At high altitudes, colder temperatures and harsh winters are more extreme, putting additional strain on your home's heating system. As temperatures drop and homes sit under snow for longer periods, you'll find that standard heating systems like forced air heating can end up working harder than usual, which can increase both energy use and cost. Many mountain homeowners recommend supplementing traditional heating with other solutions like radiant in-floor heating or wood-burning stoves, which helps to heat rooms evenly and keep the house warmer for longer. Radiant floor heating in particular is popular in mountain homes because it provides consistent warmth directly from the floor. It can be more energy efficient since it heats surfaces rather than circulating the air, which loses heat more quickly. Appliances and adjustments at altitude. High altitude can affect certain home appliances, especially those that use gas or pressurized systems. So for example, gas stoves may require adjustment to work efficiently because gas burns differently at high altitudes. Water heaters and boilers may also need altitude-specific settings, and sometimes high-altitude models are recommended to ensure proper functioning. So additionally, if you plan to use alternative energy sources like solar power, it's worth noting that solar panels generally perform well at higher altitudes due to clearer skies and more intense sunlight. However, maintenance is crucial as panels may accumulate snow in the winter, requiring regular cleaning to keep them efficient. So moving to a higher altitude home involves considerations beyond the obvious scenic beauty. Preparing for the effects of altitude on health, heating, and appliances will help you make the most of mountain living while staying comfortable and well equipped. So by the way, if you're finding this video helpful, please don't forget to like and subscribe. When you like and subscribe, it helps more people discover my channel, and it helps to keep me motivated to bring you more valuable content on Colorado living. Okay, so we're halfway through so far, and if everything I've already spoken on sounds great, you feel like you know what you want, you've taken into account everything that I've just talked about, and you want to continue, the next half will be more for buyers after you found a property home and are in the process of closing on your home. These details are so incredibly important, so pause the video, take a break, grab a snack or a cup of coffee, and come back ready to take notes. I'll also take a break, and I'll be back in a bit. Okay, welcome back. Now let's talk about why it's important not to take inspection shortcuts and why you need a mountain specialized inspector. So let's discuss why a thorough home inspection is essential and what you need to pay special attention to when buying in Colorado's rugged mountain areas. Not all home inspectors are created equal. A typical home inspector might overlook key issues that are specific to mountain homes. This is why hiring an inspector who specializes in mountain homes is going to be crucial. These home inspectors understand the challenges that come with high altitude living and extreme weather conditions. So let's talk about roofs. You'll want to ensure that the roof can handle heavy snow loads. Many mountain homes require reinforced structures or specific materials like metal roofing, which is better for shedding snow. Foundation stability. Homes in the mountains are often built on sloped or uneven terrain. A mountain specialized inspector will assess the foundation for cracks or shifting, which could indicate instability. Water systems. Inspectors need to evaluate the well, septic systems, and drainage. Improper drainage can cause water pooling and lead to flooding or erosion. Here's some red flags to watch out for. There are several potential issues you should be vigilant about during the inspection process. Addressing these ahead of time can save you thousands of dollars in repairs later. The first is roofing problems. If the inspector notices missing shingles, leaks, or a poorly maintained roof, it's a red flag. You'll want to ensure that the roof is well insulated and designed for snow removal. The second red flag to watch out for is foundation and structural issues. Look for cracks in walls, uneven floors, or sagging beams. These could all signal shifting or settling, which is especially common in properties on steep grades. You'll also want to check for water damage or mold. Snowmelt and rain can infiltrate poorly sealed homes, leading to water damage. Mold and mildew are not just costly to fix, but they can also cause health problems. Septic and well system concerns are another big red flag. Septic systems need to meet local codes and should be inspected for proper function. And wells should be tested for water quality and flow rate. Don't skip the extras. So beyond the general inspection, consider additional evaluations like radon testing, which is common in Colorado. Radon gas can seep into homes through the foundation and pose health risks. Also, if the home relies on alternative energy sources like solar panels, you'll want to have those inspected to ensure they're functional and up to code. So at the end of the day, taking the time to invest in a detailed home inspection can save you headaches and money down the line. If you're feeling overwhelmed or need recommendations for trusted inspectors here in Colorado, feel free to reach out to me. I'm always happy to connect you with the right resources to make your mountain property purchase as smooth as possible. Okay, let's talk about survey and title checks. So you have your home inspection figured out. What's next? Why a land survey is essential. Ensuring you have a clear understanding of your property's boundaries and title is one of the most important steps in the buying process. And skipping this step could lead to boundary disputes or even the discovery that others have rights to your land. So let's break this down. First things first, what is a land survey? A survey provides precise measurements of your property lines and identifies features like easements, encroachments, or any land use restrictions. This is especially critical in the mountains where terrain can make boundaries less clear than in suburban areas. Without a survey, you may unknowingly encroach on a neighbor's land, or worse, they may encroach on yours. So imagine building a fence, a shed, or even a home addition, only to find out it's partially on someone else's property. That would not be good. Let's talk about some practical steps to make sure you're covered. So a survey can also reveal easements, which are areas where others have legal rights to access or use a portion of your property. This could include shared driveways, utility access, or even pathways to neighboring properties. You'll want to know about these before you buy so there's no surprises later. Some properties in Colorado's mountainous regions lack direct public road access, relying instead on easements or shared roads. A survey helps to confirm legal access to your land and can help prevent future disputes. Along with the land survey, a thorough title check ensures that the property you're buying truly belongs to the seller and that there are no hidden claims or restrictions on the land. A title check will confirm that the seller has full ownership and the right to transfer the property to you. It will also uncover any liens, which are unpaid debts tied to the property that you can inherit if you don't address them during the purchase. Title checks also provide details on legal easements or restrictive covenants that are tied to the land. So for instance, your property might have restrictions on what you can build or how you can use the land. Both are very important pieces of information that you need to know upfront. Without a title check, you might face future challenges from someone claiming partial ownership of your land or restrictions that limit its use. This is especially risky in mountain properties where land ownership can sometimes be unclear due to older or less formal records. You'll always want to hire a licensed surveyor who's familiar with the area to perform a land survey before closing on your property. You'll also want to work with a title company or attorney to perform a detailed title search and ensure there are no liens, claims, or encumbrances. You'll also want to obtain title insurance to protect against future legal disputes. Buying a mountain home is an exciting journey, but skipping steps like a land survey and title check can turn that excitement into a headache. So if you're thinking about buying in the Colorado mountains, feel free to reach out to me or drop a comment below if you have any questions. Okay, let's get to the 8th biggest mistake that I see people make all the time when buying a mountain property in Colorado. Not understanding viable land and zoning laws. So Colorado has strict zoning laws, and understanding what's permitted on your land is key. You don't want to be super excited about investing in a beautiful mountain property with this ideal in your head and then not be able to grow crops or set up a tiny home or simply just camp on your land. So it's important to know what's allowed and what isn't. Every county in Colorado has its own zoning regulations that dictate how the land can be used. Mountain areas often have stricter rules to protect the environment and maintain community standards. Some properties are zoned for residential use only, meaning you can't start a farm or grow certain types of crops. If the land is zoned for agriculture, there may still be restrictions on what you can grow and how you can use water for irrigation. Certain crops might require additional permits or approvals. In some areas, you'll encounter environmentally protected zones where construction, clearing trees, or even planting non-native species might be restricted. These laws are in place to preserve Colorado's unique ecosystems and prevent land erosion. And with the rise of tiny homes and off-grid living, many people hope to use their mountain property for alternative housing options or extended camping while building their main house. But zoning laws and building codes can make this tricky as well. Tiny homes may seem like a great way to live minimally, but in Colorado, they often face challenges with zoning. Many counties require homes to meet minimum square footage, have permanent foundations, and be connected to water and septic systems. Tiny homes that are on wheels are often classified as RVs, which are not permitted for full-time residency in most areas. Let's talk about why these rules matter. So if you're thinking about camping on your property for extended periods, be aware that many counties have strict limits. Some allow camping for only a few weeks per year, while others require special permits for long-term stays. This is especially true in areas that prioritize environmental conservation. You can look up certain laws around this on county websites. I'll leave a link to the Gilpin and Clear Creek County websites in the description box below. Violating zoning laws or land use laws can lead to hefty fines, eviction from your property, or even legal action. So make sure you do your homework before buying to ensure your plans align with what's permitted in your area. Always check with the county planning and zoning department to confirm the property's zoning classifications and permitted uses. Ask about restrictions on water use, particularly if you plan to grow crops or install irrigation systems. Work with a local real estate agent like me who understands the intricacies of Colorado's zoning laws and can help you navigate them. Now that you understand your land rights, let's talk about the final big thing that most people miss: water rights. Water rights are kind of a big deal in Colorado, especially in the mountain areas where water resources are limited. Many buyers don't realize just how strict these rules can be or how they impact your property usage. So let's break it down. Colorado follows a prior appropriation system, often summarized as first in time, first in right. This means that water rights are not automatically tied to the land, but are granted to individuals or entities based on the date they were first claimed. Older rights generally take precedence during shortages, which is especially important in the mountains where water can be scarce. So if you can't water your garden with your well, we'll need to talk about storing it. Most domestic wells in Colorado prohibit outdoor irrigation unless explicitly stated in the well permit. For properties smaller than 35 acres, outdoor watering for gardens or greenhouses is often not permitted unless you have specific augmentation plans or additional water rights. Properties that are larger than 35 acres may allow limited irrigation of up to 1 acre, depending on the type of well and associated rights you have. So even if you're growing plants inside a greenhouse, the water used for this purpose needs to comply with the property's water rights. Unauthorized irrigation, even for personal use, can lead to fines or legal disputes. So whether it's growing vegetables or landscaping, always check what your well permit allows, and if necessary, seek additional approvals to stay compliant. Colorado allows the use of up to 2 rain barrels per household with a combined storage capacity of 110 gallons. The water must be used for outdoor purposes such as garden irrigation and cannot be used for drinking or other indoor use. For properties with wells, water storage is typically restricted unless explicitly mentioned in the permit. Building ponds or reservoirs for water storage requires approval from the Colorado Division of Water Resources and may necessitate legal proceedings through water courts. Unauthorized storage can lead to disputes with downstream users or water rights holders. So for instance, if you're envisioning a picturesque pond on your mountain property, make sure it's legally allowed. Without the right permits, even small ponds can lead to significant fines or require costly remediation. Let's talk about some things that you should pay attention to. Review water rights documentation. Always ask for detailed information about the property's water rights during the purchasing process. Consult local experts. Engage a water rights attorney or consult the local water district to fully understand what your property's water rights allow. Plan for alternatives. If your property has limited water access, consider trucking in water for certain uses or investing in high-efficiency irrigation systems to make the most of what's permitted. Water might seem like a small detail when you're buying a mountain home, but it's definitely a crucial one. Being proactive about understanding your property's water can save you headaches and money in the long run. Well, we made it through all the mistakes you could potentially make before buying a mountain property, but you didn't make any of these because you watched this video and took notes. So if this has been helpful in any way, please give this video a like and leave a comment. Okay, so you got the house, but now for whatever reason, maybe you hate winter or you want to rent it out or Airbnb a few months out of the year. Great. Mountain homes can make fantastic rental properties, but it's not as simple as putting your house on Airbnb or finding a long-term tenant. Colorado's rental markets, especially in the mountains, come with its own set of rules and limitations, just like everything else. So here's what you need to know. Short-term rentals, such as those listed on Airbnb or VRBO, are heavily regulated in many Colorado counties. Some jurisdictions like Breckenridge or Aspen have strict limits on the number of rental permits issued each year. Others may outright ban short-term rentals in residential zones. So always check the specific county or town regulations before considering this option. Most counties require a permit or license to operate a short-term rental legally. These permits often come with conditions such as occupancy limits that are based on square footage or bedroom count, on-site parking requirements, and noise ordinance compliance to minimize disruption to neighbors. Some of your neighbors really may hate that you're doing this, so it's a good idea just to check in with the people living around you to make sure they're okay with you renting an Airbnb. Be prepared to pay lodging taxes and file reports with local and state authorities. Failure to comply can result in hefty fines or legal action. So one of my clients wanted to rent their mountain cabin, but they realized they needed a local property manager to meet the area's permit requirements. It's these little details that can make or break your rental plans. Let's talk about long-term rentals. Colorado has specific protections for both tenants and landlords. For example, tenants have the right to safe and habitable living conditions, which can be challenging in mountain homes prone to extreme weather or wildlife intrusions. Landlords must provide proper notice, usually 24 hours before entering the property. If your property is part of a homeowners association, the HOA may impose additional restrictions on rentals. For example, they might limit the length of leases or possible rentals altogether. Some rural or mountain areas are zoned specifically for single-family residences and may restrict long-term renting to protect the community's character. Winter storms can make access difficult, particularly for tenants unfamiliar with mountain driving. So be prepared about the challenges of living in a mountain home to set proper expectations. So be transparent about the challenges of living in a mountain home to set proper expectations. Tenants will rely on you to maintain utilities like wells, septic systems, or off-grid energy setups. If you're renting out your property, ensure that these systems are robust and well-maintained to avoid disputes or emergencies. Start by contacting the local planning office or checking municipal websites to understand the specific rental regulations for your area. For both short-term rentals and long-term rentals, having a local manager ensures quick responses to tenant needs and compliance with local laws. Include fees for permits, taxes, and any required property updates in your rental plans. Make sure you have comprehensive landlord or short-term rental insurance to protect against liability and property damage. Renting out your mountain home can be an excellent way to offset costs or even generate income, but only if you go in fully informed. Taking the time to understand rental rights and regulations ensures your investment remains both legal and profitable. Okay, to sum it all up, make sure you have a good financial reserve. Unexpected costs like septic and well maintenance, fire mitigation, and even snow removal can add up quickly. Location matters. Don't underestimate the commute or isolation of mountain living. Being far from grocery stores and services might not be for everyone. Weather exposure. Snow and sun exposure play a big role in comfort and livability. Make sure your home's orientation maximizes sunlight, especially in the winter months. Wildlife. Wildlife can be a joy to observe, but also a challenge to coexist with. Proper fencing and bear proofing are essential. Altitude effects. Living at a high altitude affects your health, heating systems, and even appliances. So be prepared for these adjustments. Thorough inspections. Always work with inspectors who know the unique challenges in mountain homes, from snow load capacity to water damage risks. Land surveys and titles. Skipping a land survey or title check can lead to boundary disputes or surprise easements on your property. Zoning laws. Colorado's zoning laws are strict. So whether you want to grow food, build a tiny home, or camp on your property, make sure it's permitted. Water rights. Water is precious in Colorado, and water rights are very complex. So know the rules for wells, irrigation, and storage. Rental regulations. If you're thinking about renting your mountain property, short-term and long-term rentals both have specific rules that you'll need to follow. So to sum it up, buying a mountain home in Colorado is an exciting adventure, but it comes with unique challenges that require careful planning. I know that was a ton of information, and my goal was not to overwhelm you, but to give you in-depth detail of everything you may or may not be thinking about if you're considering a move to the mountains, and mistakes plenty of people make so you don't have to. So if you take anything away, it's this. Buying a mountain home is a lifestyle decision as much as it is a financial one. So be prepared to adapt to nature, not the other way around. Embrace the unique responsibilities of mountain living and always do your homework before making the move. Thank you so much for watching. If you're considering buying a mountain home or you have questions about mountain living, I'd love to help you navigate the process. Don't forget to like this video and subscribe to my channel for more Colorado real estate tips. And leave a comment below if you found this helpful or you have questions. I'll see you in the next video.